Greetings, I'm Erika Collins, and this is Inside Development, Breaking the Stigma on Affordable Housing, Part 1. I have done a lot of research in my real estate career on multiple things, so development, commercial properties, investment properties, and one of those discussion points has led me into the topic of affordable housing. At first, we think about probably negative connotations, the project housings, the undesirable type communities where a lot of people just don't want to live. They don't want them in their neighborhoods. And after a lot of research, I've come to see that affordable housing is way more than the stigma that surrounds it. And so I hope you'll enjoy as I go step by step into each of the different sectors for this part 1 on the Inside Development series on affordable housing. I'm going to start out with Section 8. Section 8 is a housing voucher program given out by the Department of Social Services. And what it is a program where people with low income can receive some rental assistance that it doesn't necessarily apply to a house, a building, or a property. It applies with the person. So you're not going to know if your neighbor is Section 8 approved unless they tell you. It's not something that is on public record. The landlord is the one that has to apply to be able to accept and comply with state standards regarding Section 8 housing. So this is one of the stigmas that we can let go of, being concerned about who our Section 8 neighbors are. Another topic that we have is the affordable housing programs. Those are programs that are built as an entire development project specifically dedicated to affordable housing units. Some things like these are typically a building that's multifamily and all the tenants that live there are under the income guidelines that are required by that apartment unit to have those tenants there. Affordable housing has to go through some pretty strict, regimented application processes, including applying for state and federal grants, one of them being called LIHTC, Low Income Housing Tax Credit. And what that is other businesses will buy, essentially kind of like the bond system, where they'll buy into the tax program where they give in so much, and then at the end of the year they're able to withdraw that over the course of so many years for their business to have reduction in taxes for their business. So that grant helps the developers to build an affordable housing unit under market rates, where the land, especially in Miami, is very high, and so to develop affordable housing is very cost prohibitive. And without government programs such as the LIHTC or other opportunities like the Live Local Act, these programs would not even come to pass because the cost to develop is just way too high. And especially with the amount of time it takes to develop, those are another thing that makes everything really slow down and makes the project cost prohibitive. The third thing I wanted to talk about is what's called workforce housing. Workforce housing is a whole different animal all on its own. Places like Amazon are taking advantage of workforce housing units where they're able to develop housing close by to, say, the Amazon warehouse, where they're going to have a lot of people working and they want to have them be able to have accessible close by housing. So they'll build affordable housing workforce houses and they rent them out to their employees, and this is also another option for the affordable housing category. And I think the one thing that you're going to be surprised the most about, and I have my notes here so I'll read it to you directly, is the actual income levels for each of these categories. So for a family of 4, and this is just for Miami-Dade, I would have to look at the numbers for other counties. However, for extremely low income, this would be a income limit of up to $37,150. No surprise there that that would qualify for extremely low income. And these are all categories of people that under the Miami-Dade guidelines would be approved for affordable housing. So for the very low income for a family of 4, you are allowed to have an income of up to $61,950. So that could be one spouse working or one parent working in a family of 4. And because of that, they would qualify, with the application process for the affordable housing. Low income in Miami-Dade is considered up to $99,100, and this is where the numbers get really shocking. $99,100 is above the area median average of $83,000, and so it really becomes important for us to realize that the stigma around affordable housing needs to change, especially considering the median average of Miami being 80,000. That includes a lot of people. Considering we have a few million people that live in Miami, that's a lot of people that are going to qualify under these numbers. For workforce housing, that income level for a family of 4 can go up to as high as $148,680. So that's a lot of money. That's a lot more than what most people are making in some places. So I think it's just really exciting to see and to discuss the guidelines and the limitations that are on these different types of opportunities, and just to have the discussion as a real estate professional. I also like to have this conversation with my developers, especially with people trying to develop from other locations. They might not know all the laws and opportunities that they're able to take advantage of here to not only help reduce their property taxes, but also improve their development timelines. Usually when a developer applies for the affordable housing or the workforce housing or the Live Local Act, they're going to see their permitting timelines shorten and their development budgets increase by improving density levels in their buildings. So say the county allowed you to go from 100 units as a non-affordable housing to 125, that definitely increases your rents that you're allowed to bring in from that property. So it improves not only the pocketbook of the developer, but the timeline of the developer, where time can definitely be of the essence when it comes to getting a project completed, so you can start getting rid of some of those carrying costs that are in the startup of a building. I'd love to get your opinion on this affordable housing discussion. If you'd like to see the whole article, I posted it on my LinkedIn, and I can post it in the chat thread below also. I would love to understand what your thoughts are and have the discussion and see if this is something you might want to take advantage of. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for part 2, where I start breaking down the differences between affordable housing, LIHTC, and the Live Local Act. I thank you for watching, and I hope to connect with you soon.